ITEC traveled to West Africa, and we trained in medical and also in farming. We went to serve a local organization there that we've been in contact with for a long time now. We've done many training trips with them.
I was the lead trainer for the medical training, and we had 15 in our class. 12 were students, 3 were observers.
Went to West Africa to do some farm training, conservation agriculture. We had a few students. We signed up for 15 and ended up with 18 with some of the extras that came in, and those extras were a blessing. The week started off kind of rough. We didn't get our luggage.
And in our luggage are training supplies and manuals, and so we found ourselves improvising a lot.
But they actually turned out to be a blessing. God used that to help me just really focus on the training instead of worrying about all the materials.
But the trip was amazing. The students came from very far. Some of them took days to arrive. So as you could imagine, if you're traveling through the bush for days and you're fighting to get to this training, you probably have a little bit of eagerness about you and excitement about you to learn the things that are being taught. And I didn't know what that looked like until I arrived, but when I got there and I got to meet the medical students and the farm students, who could not have been more excited about training than they were, and just seeing the joy on their face when they learned a skill, it meant an awful lot to them. And to watch them not just learn it, but then practice it in the classroom in that setting, whether it be the farming or the medical, was it was a lot of fun for me personally to see what we do and how we do it.
And even though the training was a challenge, it was a learning experience for us.
The training was excellent. We had great students who asked a lot of questions. In the off time, they were reading their manuals and talking to each other about the material. Things just, even though it looked like disaster, things went extremely well.
I think the highlight of the training came after the training was finished. A student that flew with us from our training site to where we had landed initially, and he was on his way back to his country, and that was his first flight. He had never been in the air. So his name was Joseph, and when we left to come to the States, he left to go back to his country.
The partner had told us of a story of how one of the students that we had just trained in medical just days before, he was reaching out to a local tribe that was unreached, no believers at all that we were aware of, but he took the medical training that he had received and used that as a door opener to the gospel. And heavily Islamic area, pretty hostile to the gospel. The medical skills got his foot in the door, and throughout his time in that village that particular day, many were interested spiritually. So the medical training got his foot in the door, and then they shared the Jesus film with that village there were about 300 people in attendance. The village has about 2,000 people. But of the 300 or so that watched the Jesus film that evening, 164 received Christ and were baptized.
That's not an easy thing for a Muslim to decide to turn from being a Muslim to being a Christ follower. and 164 from the efforts of some very obedient missionaries and evangelists. That was the highlight of my training.